Welcome to our next episode of Dr. Kamini Rao's Masterclass.
Because I find that it's very easy. You don't put in a lot of effort when you are young and you get it naturally. It becomes part of you, then you'll never give up. Emotionally and physically, it was a very hard work because putting in that kind of practice takes a lot out of you.
How was it to get into a man's world and conquer the man's world?
Honestly, I did not have so much of gender bias. If you learn music, your memory power increases.
But the other thing I said, while this was happening, you were also pursuing your PhD. I mean, PhD in music and that too of string instruments. Now, why did you develop that interest in PhD?
Honestly, I was not interested. Let me be honest. I was very happy to perform and pursue that, but then B.V.K. Shastri is one of our greatest musicologists who was here in Bangalore. He happened to be neighbor. I did mention this. Destiny has played a great role in my life. So he used to come home and he used to listen to me, and then he's one of the persons who opened up a lot of things for me and said you should never be happy with small little things, and then you should look for bigger things, bigger achievements in life. Then he said you need to get knowledge if you want to reach there. So he literally held hands and took me to the university and made me register for my PhD. Then at every point, every time I was sitting back not doing it, he would say, no, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I surprisingly in 5 years, I finished it. In fact, I did a lot of my research on trains, thanks to Indian Railways. Because I used to travel a lot. And For me, a preferred form of transport was trains because of the veena I was carrying at that time.
I know.
So I would if there was a choice between a flight, and I was not flying so much at that time, but then it was always a train. So I used to be very happy to go by train, so I could have all the peace and I would read a lot, do all my research. Thanks to Indian Railways, I finished my PhD.
But again, going back onto your education, Suma, the MA you did at 20, so which means that you must have passed out everything very fast. So imagine having Suma passing MA by the time she's 20.
But all my friends did the same thing, so I didn't think it
so
was.
there was no age bar.
No age bar.
Huh?
When you attended Indian schools, we had no age bar. So that we are the last batch.
You're lucky.
We are lucky.
Huh.
So all my friends were the same age. So I didn't think I was doing anything big at that time. Now looking back, I feel, it was a big thing. Those days, no.
So when you actually got your PhD, there must be a handful of people who must have had their PhDs in music, during your time.
Yeah, very few people. Mine was maybe the 12th PhD thesis.
So now you must be training a lot of people for PhDs.
Yeah, I do. But because I'm not working in the university, I used to work for some time. But I do guide a lot of people, and I go as an examiner to a lot of PhD papers when they have their viva and all that. I do correct a lot of theses and all that from all over India. They send, especially anything connected to instruments and all that. It come to me. Yeah.
So normally, how much time does it take for a person who's done their masters? See, you did your masters in history, but then you went and did a PhD in musicology. So does it mean that you don't have to do a masters in music and then go in for a PhD?
That's very interesting. I have to answer this because a lot of people do ask me this. When I was studying, there was no masters in music. So they allowed me as a special case, and I also had done my proficiency examination.
Okay.
So I had done, and I was a performing artist. They gave me that exemption. Now you can't do that.
That's why.
Because there was no PhD program, there was no master's degree program in music at the time when I passed out in Bangalore University. So they allowed me to do. They said historical perspective you take, then we will allow you. That's how they allowed me.
Okay, that's really good. So you did your Vidyut very early. That was good, really good. So how did it feel? You got the first rank in that. How was that feeling?
In fact, that's what changed my life, I would say. I didn't know I was that good because I was going for few competitions and performing, but I had no ambition to take music so seriously. So when I got the rank, and then when I was everything happened at that time together. But there are a lot of my students who have finished at 17. I've taken it as a challenge, and I had 3 students of mine who came first in, but they all finished at 70.
Yeah. Do you think it is good to finish so early? Or
It
you need
depends
some
on
maturity?
No, it's always good to take challenges. If you are capable, I believe that you need to take challenges. If everything is ordinary, you won't achieve extraordinary things.
So you're a believer of why be ordinary when you can be extraordinary. Thank you
Definitely.
very much, because that's the tagline of Masterclass. Now, the other thing is that when you go on a stage and you're going to perform, have you ever felt that if the crowd is not with you, because the moment you have some of these light Sugama Sangeet kind of programs, people actually come and then they're with it and then they're enjoying it. But when it comes to classical music, you need an eye and you need a ear for it, and you don't find that kind of niche crowd all the time in an audience. And if they don't actually pay attention, do you feel bad about it, that you take so much of trouble to come and sit? Forget the ticketing and all that sort of thing, but if the audience is not with you when you're playing, you feel bad?
Surprisingly, I haven't had that kind of many experiences at all. I've always gone, but the thing is, I've done 2 genres of music. I've done a lot of what we are calling as fusion concert, what we call as crossover concerts right now. So from 80s I've had youngsters coming and whistling and clapping and enjoying with us. That part of my life is also there, but I've also done classical concerts are done in sabhas, in corporate setups, where people want your music, then only they invite you. Otherwise they don't invite you for that kind of music. And I have done many ensembles. I am the first one in India to do 75 Veena ensemble, 25 Veena ensemble on stage. Nobody had done till now. Many people have done, but I was the first one to do all that. So we have had packed audience, and they have come for me and they have sat and listened to it. And also, if you ask me, when I started out, I used to feel bad that not so many people come to classical concerts, and there are so many people for Bollywood or even Sugam Sangeet. But right now, after so many 40 years of being in the profession, I feel we have our own audience. It has its own place. Classical music will always stay, but it has its kind of enlightened audience. Not everybody can appreciate classical music. It's true world over. Western classical music also, you require the same kind of understanding of the music. I feel we all have a place of our own.
So it's a very symbiotic life. You have yours and I have mine.
You have to come to terms with that. I chose this, right? Nobody forced me to do this. I chose to be a musician. I chose to be a Veena artist. So you need to make the best of it. I don't know, it's always a cup half filled or half full. I would look at it as half full. Life becomes easier and it's happier time.
That's true. Have you ever felt that if you were given your life back again, would you like to do something different, or would you say that I'd like to take the same trodden path and go through this?
No, I don't believe in that. If I have another birth, I'd want to be a musician. No, probably do something else you can make anything exciting and then meaningful. I made my life meaningful by choosing what I chose. Probably if I didn't do it, at some point I would have turned a designer. I would have done it, but then I have no regrets being a musician. I did what I could do to best of my abilities, and I think that's the way you should look at it.
That's good. Now, once you've been a director for Chaudhaya Memorial, and now you've become one of the trustees for this big project in Brigade Millennium. And I think, this is just out of the world what you're doing, because, things like, experiencing music, experiential music, and it's almost like a museum where you can get all genres of music. And can you explain that to us? Because, just as you started it, the damn COVID came in and therefore people couldn't come in. But I would like a lot of people, once the doors are open, that they must come and see this.
So, this is called Indian Music Experience. This is first of its kind museum in India, in Southeast Asia also. Museum which is totally dedicated to Indian music. So this project started by Mr. Jaishankar of Brigade Group. He's the chairman and MD of Brigade Group. He had gone to Seattle and he had seen an experiential music museum, which was on one person, which was sponsored by Microsoft. So he thought he should do, when they could do it for one person, of course now they've changed that museum and they've made it into something else in Seattle. He thought we should do something for the Bangalore people, to people who love music, and he loves music. Basically, it all comes out of passion. If you're not passionate about something, you won't think out of the box and start doing something like that. Then I joined this project in 2012 as the director of the museum. It's been the 8-9 years I've been with this. It's been a beautiful journey for me, because whatever I dreamt in my life I could do, I was able to contribute. And it's a beautiful museum. If you enter and spend 45 minutes, not more than that, you will understand something about Indian music, you will like something about Indian music, and you will come back happy. It also represents the regional forms of music. You will be surprised to know that we have oral traditions of 120 forms of music which is still alive in India. I myself did not know about it. If I had not done the research for this, I would not have known. We have documented all this. Our biggest challenge was to make it into a visual thing, which was an oral thing, which you only hear music, and now here we are representing it in a visual format. That was the biggest challenge. I think to a large extent we have been successful. We have layered the museum beautifully. People, if you are listening, please, when you get an opportunity, please do visit the museum. You will come back enriched.
But then how long did it do? How long did it take to get this? 9 years.
Yeah.
That 9 years must really have been sweating for you,
No, you do something which you enjoy. You don't feel, I haven't had a Sunday, or if it was never a working hour. The team was so enthusiastic about it, and then I was also interacting with the best minds in the music field all over the country. We had a content committee which was from all over India. People were there, and then these were the best minds you could interact with. I think it was been a beautiful journey for 9 years. I never regretted not having time for
myself. How much did it cost, this whole thing?
It costed us just to put up the museum. We had the building, we had the property was bought by CSR site was bought by the BDA. 42 crores it costed us
to get this.
Yeah, we a lot of my money came from the Brigade Group. Of course, the government, central government, state government gave us the funds, and also a lot of corporates gave us the funds. So I was in the forefront to get the central government funding and all that. So it's been a beautiful journey.
That's good. So then this entire project is going to be like given to the government?
No, it's done by the trust. Right. It's done by the Indian Music Experience Trust.
It's a trust.
It's a trust which runs it. It's a non-profit. It's an NGO. So
that's great, because then I hope that people will come. So
a lot of people were coming. So unfortunately, we had opened last July. Last year, we are at the end of 2020, and then we also opened the Ravi Shankar Centenary Temporary Exhibition on March 7th, and unfortunately we had to close down everything on March 15th because of COVID. Now we have reopened the museum. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's really nice. And so I'm sure the viewers will certainly like to come and visit this place, because this is a real experience. And going back to your life itself, and you've had 2 lovely children. Okay, 2 girls. What are they doing?
My elder daughter is a jewelry designer by profession. She also dances Bharatanatyam. I started her at 5.
You also started her at 5?
Yeah, I thought she should learn early, and I started her. Dance is part of her life. She can't get...
She does dancing even now?
Yeah, even now. Just last week she performed.
Yeah.
So she does perform, and jewelry designing, and she also ventured into English theatre for quite some time, 10 years. At that point, she gave up dancing and she was doing only English theatre. She was acting, directing.
Where?
In Bangalore itself. Yeah. So
Okay.
she's been doing it, and she runs a business of her own. Jewelry
So
business.
jewelry designing has become a business or a hobby?
No, it's a profession, it's a business. She runs a full-time business. She has a showroom and she has workshops in Bangalore and Jaipur. And she's doing
Okay,
it.
that's really good. So the bangle that you have on your hand is also something that she has done.
The jewelry I'm wearing
Jewelry?
is, in fact, everything is from
Everything
her.
is hers.
So now I'm sort of a brand ambassador.
Yes,
to
you are
her.
a brand ambassador for that as well. No, it's good. When your daughter designs this for you, it's a proud moment. You should be able to say that this is what my daughter has done, because it's important that each of them, two things. One, you have allowed them to do what they want to do, and they have excelled in it, and you're proud wearing it. Now, who's complaining? Nobody's
I'm not
complaining.
complaining.
Huh? So I think that's really good.
Yeah.
What she's
And
going
she's
to.
a beautiful, she has great taste, and for me, it's very proud. I'm very proud that she's revived some of the old handmade jewelry. She's revived many from Hyderabad, and she has these karigars, all award-winning karigars with whom she works, and then does something marvelous. And her specialty is handmade jewelry.
Handmade jewelry.
And my younger daughter is a dentist, but
Followed your husband's profession.
no, she studied dentistry. She was a brilliant girl through her school, college, everything. But she also was modeling. She was Miss Femina finalist. So she was modeling for a long time, and then she took to yoga and wellness program. So she's now teaches yoga and does this wellness
Program
retreats
as
and all
well.
that. Yeah.
So, do you really attribute the good looks that you have to the wellness that your second daughter is giving you?
I'm very much a fitness freak.
Fitness freak.
Yeah.
Great.
I exercise a lot. I do yoga with her. I also exercise. I believe that you need to look after yourself. I think self-preservation should be one of the most important thing for women. It's very easy for all of us to say, I don't have time. I have time for everything.
Good. It's only the busy person that has the time.
I don't know about that, but I make time for everything I love. I make time.
Good. And at the end of it, when you sleep, you don't have a worry. You have completed whatever you want to do for that day.
That not really. I have lots of things which I would like to do, but then I always find time to do. I prioritize. My priority is to be a good musician, and a good instrumentalist requires, I need to practice, whether I like it or not, because I need to maintain my callus, and also the control over. It's a difficult instrument I play. Keep my control. If I don't have the confidence, I won't play well. So it's very simple. So to keep my confidence level, I need to practice.
Do you also read books, and do you sort of keep yourself involved with cooking and all these kind of things?
Cooking, not so much. Only COVID times I revived my interest, but I don't do much of cooking. But I do read. All these 9 years I've read so much about music, because I was also, I put the instruments gallery together. We have 100 instruments from all over the country, classical, folk. So I didn't have deep knowledge of folk instruments and all that. One thing I learned was unless you have knowledge, you cannot talk to the big people in the field, and the right person to approach the right person, you need to do your homework. So I started reading a lot. I do read. I love reading. I'm happy to introduce Tarangini Veena and also talk about it a little. It's a very comfortable veena to carry it around if you are performing around the world. It's very difficult to carry Saraswati Veena because it's a very fragile and huge instrument, and it breaks very easily. So this instrument, this portion and this portion can be dismantled and put it into a guitar case, and only the top portion you can put it into the main guitar case and carry it, and assembly will take only 2 minutes. It's very, very comfortable, and it's exactly like veena to play on. There's no difference. I can switch from the Saraswati Veena to Tarangini Veena without a hassle. I'll just do a little small demonstration for you.
That was fantastic, okay? It has taken us into another world. Don't you think, viewers, that this is a feast that you were all looking for? Well, have I satisfied you? Of course we have. Thank you, Suma. Thank you very much. You know, Suma, I must confess that the one thing that really gladdens my heart, that this is Dr. Sudhindra has not been blamed because he's a doctor, because otherwise every person in the public blames the doctor. Now here is Dr. Sudhindra, who has been so supportive to you, and he's allowed you to grow to such great heights. I think at least we must actually say thank you to Dr. Sudhindra.
Yeah, he's been very supportive. There's no doubt about that. He was very busy all through practicing.
But it's nice that he's busy and he's passive about your growth.
Yeah, it's that's
also
where
a lot
that's
of
what I was
support.
coming to. So he's been absolutely supportive of whatever I've been doing. I think it's great if you have critics at home who will make you grow.
Yes.
If everybody is telling you are the best and nobody is telling you, you will never grow. You start stagnating at some point.
Absolutely.
I think that stagnation did not happen thanks to him. I would give him the full credit for that.
Thank you very much, because the doctor community will be very happy that you've supported our profession. So thank you, Dr. Suma Sudhindra, because of your PhD, and I'm extremely happy to have you on our show today. And I would like you to talk to our viewers, and I would also ask for your message to them as to how would they also take your positive message back.
First, let me thank you, Dr. Kamini. I've always appreciated what work you have been putting together, and then this morning, my inspiration has come from you. I would say that. It's so inspiring to see how much work you are doing. It's great inspiration. I always will cherish this day. I don't know, I don't want to be preachy, but one thing, you have to have focus on whatever you do, whatever work you are doing. To say that I can't do is the easiest way to get out of any situation. Don't do that. If it is difficult, you should venture out, expand, explore and see whether you'll be able to achieve that, and then have focus on it and have discipline and enjoy what you do, and always think my cup is always half full. That makes your life easy. Enjoy whatever you do and put in the hard work. You will get the results. Everything else will follow.
Thank you very much. So here we come to the end of another great Dr. Kamini Rao's masterclass. Till we meet again for the next episode, see you soon.
So we should not get caught. Your professional reputation is very, very important than anything else. Money can come, money can go. See, we are not interested in, fly by night. We are not like a fly by night operator. We want to have a long-standing thing. As I told you, the idea is to build up goodwill.